limitations, like no sumi, no tomonage, whatever it is? You have any limitations on techniques that are allowed to be done at a certain level?
Yeah, so I allow basically almost all techniques, except I don't allow Tani Atoshi under green belt. So in the green belt and under, no Tani Atoshi, because I can't have people baseball sliding into people's knees.
Yep. Wow, where did you get that?
You.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show. I'm here with Colton Brown, the legend, the man, the myth. Dude, you're doing everything out there. What's going on, dude?
I'm trying to be like you. That's all I can say. No, but in all seriousness, I'm having fun, man. I'm having a lot of fun doing what I do, and a lot of times it's not as much work as people think. So I'm passionate about judo, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it right now.
I love that. So for those of you who don't know, Colton's a two-time Olympian for the United States. He has won pretty much everything going out to the world, the U.S. domestic tournaments, all that stuff. Had a ton of success in his judo career. And recently, you were a USA Judo board member.
Yes. So you're gonna jump right into it. Yeah. I was a board member. I resigned in January. So I resigned about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Yeah.
So we'll get back to that. But now you're coaching all the top level athletes in the United States. You're running a dojo with 200 plus members. It's absolutely amazing what you're doing. I think we need like 20 more in the United States for judo, I think, So can you tell us a little bit about like all the successes that you've had recently?
Yeah, 100%. I think that when I retired after Tokyo in 2021, and I always knew I wanted to open a dojo. So I knew, during COVID, I started, when COVID was kind of coming to an end, I started giving private lessons because that was my only way to make money at the time. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, before that, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then after that, I was like, I kind of like teaching. Like I like when people contact me and say, hey, Colton, like your training helped me accomplish this goal or whatever the case might be. And it brought me a lot of fulfillment. And I was like, okay. I completely changed my life from selfish, as you know how it is as an athlete trying to compete at the highest level, to selfless. And I opened my dojo I started looking for space. I opened my dojo in 2022, in February of 2022. Wow. Found a good space. We opened. Less than a year later, I expanded. So there was a laundromat next to us. They went out of business. We knocked down the wall and expanded into that location. So now we have, it's one big training center. Mm-hmm. And we train everywhere from, kids to adults, judo, jiu-jitsu, MMA, all kinds of stuff. I train a lot of the high-level athletes. Some of them come from my training center. Some of them from elsewhere. They come in. But like I said, right now I'm having a ton of fun building this thing. It's fun for me building the business and seeing, my goal is to always introduce as many people as possible to judo and have a positive impact on people through martial arts. Nice. So that's my goal, and that's what keeps me going every day.
And how many judo students do you have now at the gym?
Total students we were close to 400. I have about 375. Yeah, we got about 375 total.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever done that in 2 years, dude. Yeah, no one's ever done that. Yeah.
It's a lot of work though. So I sometimes post to my Instagram story. I'm up at 5 a.m. and sometimes I don't leave the dojo until 10 p.m. But it's worth it. It's growing. We're growing at a really fast rate. But I think more importantly, my goal is to keep students, right? I want retention. So my goal is to, everybody's like, oh, well, you must spend a lot of time marketing and doing this. And I really don't spend any time doing that. What me and the rest of my instructors do is we try to make the current programs as good as possible. So I try to make sure every single person that walks into my studio or my dojo gets what they need out of that class. And I'm trying to make them feel like everybody's important, and that's a full-time job.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So do you do like curriculum for kids? Like what is the percentage breakup of the gym? If you look at, I know you have kickboxing, BJJ, judo, kids judo. So that's your four main programs, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, man, I gotta say, like, if you guys aren't already following Colton Brown's dojo, it's like the gold standard of dojos now, I think. It's amazing. It's a hybrid program. You're out there teaching the stuff. There's kids programs. It's really you're flourishing. You're the new guy. You're the new guy now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, we have. It's weird because people think that we have more kids than adults. It's actually, since the beginning, it's been split right down the middle.
That's
so
amazing.
I have the exact same amount of kids as we have adults. It's maybe a couple more kids or a couple more adults, depending month to month. But for the most part, it's split even.
Yeah.
But most of our students are judo students. So it's really a judo dojo that has other programs.
That's incredible. That's a sign of a healthy dojo, being a split. When I hear guys like, 90% of my gym is adults. Okay, 90% of my gym is kids. I'm like, all right, but having 50-50, we're 50-50 also. We probably have like 80 adult students, 80 to 100 kid students, and it always fluctuates. We're around 200,
Nice.
specifically judo. So you do just judo's the majority of your business?
Judo is the majority of the business. Jiu-jitsu now has picked up. So in the beginning, it was massive growth for judo. It took jiu-jitsu a little bit longer, I think, because there's a lot of competition on every corner. There's a jiu-jitsu school.
Yep.
But jiu-jitsu started to pick up probably about 6 months ago, and we have a lot of jiu-jitsu students now. And MMA is also picking up. So we made a couple of changes, and the jiu-jitsu and MMA programs now are picking up. But I also think a lot of that is because of the word of mouth from the judo program. So we have so many students for judo now that if somebody's like, hey, I want to train, but I don't want to do too much stand-up, well, we refer them to jiu-jitsu. If they're like, oh man, I want to do more, I want to do less impact, then we refer them to a little bit of MMA. So I think it's now the judo was the core program for a long time, and now it's a lot of our students are beginning to branch out and do other things and refer us to other people, and that's how it's growing. So
do you have split segmented memberships for each program, or do you have one shop like Colton Brown Judo Center, this is your membership, that's it?
So we have a little bit of both. So we have split memberships for each program, but we also we incentivize by doing package deals. So if you wanted to train 2 times a week judo, 2 times a week jiu-jitsu, 1 time a week MMA, we can do that. Our goal is always to accommodate. There's so many people that come in with so many different needs, and they're like, okay, I don't know what I want to do, so can I do 1 day a week of each? And we have something for them too. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's a lot of keeping track of too, administratively,
It's a lot of administrative work. I have a very good assistant.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's really good. I mean, because I see tons of people coming in, and you have competitors and hobbyists, and how are you managing all that? That was actually the hardest thing for me to figure out, because and you get this too, because you've been in the game a lot longer than I have, and I was always told that it's impossible to train competitors and hobbyists in the same room. I was always told that you have to have beginners classes and then intermediate classes and blah, blah, blah. But my thing is, I was like, okay, my philosophy was, if I have just straight beginners classes and a bunch of white belts in class, when it comes time to do randori or train live, somebody's going to get injured. That's a dangerous situation there. Yeah. So I was like, well, why not have everybody in the same room? And now when it's time to do randori, the white belts aren't going to go with the white belts. They have to go with a higher belt, and they're learning the proper feel for judo, and they're safe. It's a safe environment, and they're learning how it is to do judo. They're not, everybody's super stiff or anything like that. So, I have separate classes, a couple of separate classes a week for my competitors that only competitors are invited to. But for the most part, everybody trains together, and I split the mat sometimes, and I'll have a little bit more teaching. I'll have one of my instructors teach the white belts and the novice guys a little bit more. Yeah. But for the most part, it works out, and those guys love being in the room with the advanced guys, and the advanced guys kind of love not only talking to just competitors who they talk to every day, but talking to people everyday life. So it's a lot of networking going on there too, and it's just it's a fun environment. That's the number one thing, man, because you're doing 100% judo as a full-blown career. You don't really have an outside money career not like a lawyer or doctor or anything majority of the time. And having those networks kind of talk to each other and helping each other out, and hey, after my judo career, can you write me a letter of recommendation? And hey, kid, can you teach him some of that taitoshi that you're doing? That's an amazing thing, to have everyone in the room. And I think you have such a great community, because I was able to interact with you guys at the New York Athletic Club, We did like a little joint workout thing. Do we have a date for that? The next one yet? By the way,
we have to talk to them about a new date because I think you proposed something, but I don't know if it's set in stone. We got to figure that out. Yeah, I thought that's your job.
No, maybe it is. But dude, I was able to interact with your guys, and man, everyone's polite, everyone's kind. You know, like, what is your secret to the community building aspect of your gym?
I think there's a couple of things. I think that I always operated from the space that anybody walking through the doors, the majority of people that are walking through my doors, it's supposed to be the best part of their day. Like they just got off of work, or they're trying to get away from home, or whatever the case might be. But that is supposed to be the best part of their day. So no matter what's going on with me, I have an obligation to make sure that their experience when they walk through the doors are the best part. And that took a lot of work. Well, that took a lot of work because in the beginning, especially when I had some of my younger guys and my competitors that I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the competitors.
I'm going to be guessing.
You'll know after I say this. Yeah. When I first had them start teaching, kids these days don't interact as well as they should. So people would walk in the door, they would be on their phones, not saying hello to them, not greeting them at the door. So it took a lot of me in the beginning. I used to watch every single class that I didn't teach. I was always there, and I was watching every class that I didn't teach, and I would take notes on the side, and I'd say, hey, listen, when everybody walks in, you have to say hi. You have to make sure everybody feels seen. And there was things that took a lot of time, and sometimes like this, and I had to get rid of a few people because it didn't fit the culture. But I think constantly staying on top of just making sure everybody has a positive experience, the rest will take care of itself. It's hard work in the beginning, but now it all works for itself. And I think the kids that I had initially teaching, now they run their own programs, and they're doing it so well that I don't have to be there at all anymore. So it's running itself now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of embedded in, like, BJJ culture, you know? You walk in, you say hi to everybody in the room, oh, what's up, oh, so, this kind of thing. And it's, like, something so small, but when you do that as, like, a rule in the gym, naturally, you say hi to everyone, how's your day? People start making friends and talking. That becomes this whole thing. Do you do, like, community events, like, Barbecue Thursdays or something?
I don't do as much of that. We have a winter. I do a staff winter party. So I have a party for all my staff in the winter. We do a holiday party, and then in the summer I do a massive barbecue for the entire dojo, and everybody gets together. But what I found that does is a lot of now what I'm seeing is I'll get messages or texts or emails from parents of pictures that all of their kids are hanging out with each other and they're hanging out together, and it built from that. Like that all came about from the barbecues that we do in the summer, and just so now there's a community within the dojo that and that's what I love to see. Off of the mats, the kids are hanging out together. Off of the mats, the adults are going out and getting dinner, getting drinks. It's more than just a dojo. So now it becomes a community. So now if the kid gets injured or the kid wants to do another sport, they're always like, oh man, well, we got to come back home to family after a while, and that's the feel that I want.
Because they do it really, really good in a lot of other industries, because my kid's, she's 6 and she's like likes judo but doesn't love it, yet. But we'll see what happens with that. But like she's like part of a ballet school and they have a thing and she has friends now, so it's like Saturday morning, she may not feel up for it, but she wants to go, and then maybe afterwards we go get a cheeseburger or like go to the park or something, and it becomes this thing, and then all the moms are like, hey, you going to ballet today? And now it's like I can't get out of this goddamn thing. It's like
you're in the group. So you're in the group chat with the moms.
I am, yeah, of course. But it's the thing now because it's like if I want to transition her to judo, like for instance, Friday was a thing because she wanted to do skating for a little bit. I let her do it. Now she has friends and having play dates with skating kids, figure skating. Now this morning, I was like, yo, we're gonna go to judo on Friday, because we're doing a randori day at the gym. And she was kind of like, I want to go to skating. Sophia's there, Jennifer's there. I'm kind of like, I was like, of course.
it's community. That's super important, and you're not going to say no. You can initially, but how many times can you say no to your daughter? She's doing something positive, like she's doing a physical activity that she wants to do that you don't have to drag her to. I think that's huge, right? And a lot of it's because it's fun. But I think the same principle or concept applies to both kids and adults. If you can make it fun and an environment that people want to come to, you don't have any issues. But if you're making it your drill sergeant, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't know if I can stand up. Like some dojos that I've been to, I was like, man, do I have to ask to use the bathroom? Can I walk off the mat? Like, what's going on? Yeah, it's terrible. I don't even want to be there because I'm like, every time I'm here, I'm under stress, and I'm already under stress in my everyday life. So why do I want to add more stress? Why am I paying for stress?
Yeah, and you know what bothers me the most? Like, go down and do push-ups and get fit and fitness this and fitness that, but it's like, you're not in shape.
Right.
The teacher. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you telling me to do push-ups and stay in shape, but you're out of shape? And why do I have to ask you to go to the bathroom?
Yep.
I came here after work. Not me. I don't really work. This is my work. But like, it's like people come in after work. They had to stay late, feed their family, and then he gets shamed to kneeling on the wood before they get on the mat. And you come onto the mat when I wave you onto the mat. That's nonsense. We got to get rid of that stuff.
It's terrible. I think that's a lot of old school things there, and again, I think that you hit a really good point. As owners, as instructors, we're constantly preaching discipline and getting your body in shape and structure and all this stuff. And if we are overweight and obese and we don't train and we can't even take care of our own, we don't have the discipline to take care of our own bodies. People are looking at you like, what are you doing? I don't agree with it. Exactly. I saw you in the gym. I saw you in the gym with 3 plates yesterday. I saw you.
Oh yeah, pumping that up.
I see it, and I respect that because you have every excuse, and I know how busy you are. You have every excuse not to make time for yourself, not to go to the gym. You could do it. You could take another private lesson. You could do another podcast if you want. You could put money in your pocket, but you understand the importance of taking care of yourself and making sure you have an hour or two out of the day, and you got to do it.
That's right. You run every morning.
Every morning.
Wow, it's really impressive. You heard it here first. Colton hates fat people.
I don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to get canceled.
I'm kidding. Wow. All right. So you were doing this? You're doing private lessons. You're running a dojo with almost 400 members. That's freaking crazy, by the way. That's like the realm of mega gym. I feel like over 100, you're not a micro gym anymore. 100 to 200, you're a thriving gym. Over 300, mega gym. You're crushing it.
I appreciate you.
So, but on top of that, you were doing coaching stuff internationally. That's another really cool thing that nobody really knows about. And you know what? Let me tell you something. USA Judo doesn't do a good enough job to kind of highlight that you're out there every day, because the only way I know that you're out there is through your Instagram, which is kind of sad.
It's very sad. I think that you've always seen this, right? USA Judo is now, they're doing a much better job at highlighting the athletes, but for whatever reason, the USA Judo has never ever highlighted coaches. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a weird thing that they have. But
I mean, when Jimmy's up there, we hear about it.
Yeah, that's when he used to be there. I think things were run a little bit differently. Yeah. Now I don't know. I know there's weird political things with. There's a lot of people that are trying to coach now. I mean, you understand that this is what's weird to me. When we were on the road outside of Jimmy, nobody ever wanted to go coach. I can't tell you how many competitions I went to internationally with no coach in the chair. In Europe, in Asia, I went to the Tokyo Grand Slam with no coach in the chair. And I was crazy. And that's one of the reasons why I started coaching, because I was like, I don't want these kids to feel alone. So I want to leave the place better than I found it, right?
Who's the coach now for the USA Judo? Who's the USA Judo coaches?
Me, I'm one. I know Kerry Chandler is another coach. Johnny Prado is another coach. Herman Velasco coaches sometimes. I think those are the 4 main coaches.
Yeah.
Those are the main coaches.
But there are other people on the roster with the certifications that could potentially go also.
Of course, absolutely. There are people that have done the IJF Academy. They've been through it. There's a ton of those people, and they have been asking to go and break in to that. But I think that there's 2 things here. And then number one, I always try to make, as far as USA Judo is concerned, I try now to only go on trips where there's a training camp involved. So if I go on a trip, so I went to Slovenia 2 weeks ago. I coached a team of 18 or 19 athletes in Slovenia, and then I stayed afterwards for the training camp. Now I get to see each of these athletes that are competing. I get to see them in their rounds. I work with them with their rounds. So it's not like when I go sit in the chair, oh, hey, my name is Colton. My first time seeing you. Are you a lefty or righty? What do we have to deal with?
Oh, my God. I love that. I've had this experience. Guys go on these trips like, so go out there and then this guy's exposed to the left with Sode. Go do Sode. I was like, how do you know that I even do that stuff? Like, I've
never done that in my life.
It's like, well, I'm going to just like invent a new move that I've never done before out of nowhere. And
exactly.
That was crazy to me,
Yeah.
It's crazy to you, but like to the average judoka that's on the circuit back in the day, that was the norm.
That's the norm.
Let me just come here. Let me show you this thing that I do. And you're like, what? I'm gonna learn this thing now and hit it out there. Like, what are you crazy?
Exactly.
I love that you do that. You provide a different level of service.
Yeah, because you have to think about it, and again, this is another thing that you understand. Yeah, of course I'm getting paid when I go on these USA Judo trips, but essentially I'm losing money. Every time I step away from my dojo, they're not paying me that much. I'm losing money in a sense. So the only way it makes sense for me to go is if I'm actually making change. If I'm not making change, I'm not doing it for money, so it doesn't make any sense for me to go on these trips. And again, I just want to provide a better experience than I had because I was my own coach. And I think about this a lot of times. When Jimmy was on the road, that was a different story. But a lot of times I was my own coach, or I would have to consult with my dad about things. And then but I had to figure a lot of these things out on my own. And I was like, I remember being at training camps on my own, having to solve the equation. And I don't want these guys to have to deal with that anymore. And a lot of these coaches that you say that have this IJF certification, they want to go to the Paris Grand Slam, Tokyo Grand Slam, the World Championships. Oh, just to say, hey, I've coached there. I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is getting my feet on the ground, working with these athletes in training, figuring out the equation and making sure they're more comfortable and they have the tools necessary when they step out on and to take the mat. That's it.
That's really amazing, man. That's really noble of you. And you know what? You've been in it for so long that you know all the things, It's like sometimes you go on these trips. I've been to one of these South American Continental Opens, and it's like no one stayed for the camp. It was just me. I was in a roommate with like one of the Dominican kids from the DR team. And they're like, I don't even know where to go. We're like, where do we go next? You don't have a coach. I don't have a coach. Like, what do we do? And then, you have these tough guys from Brazil at the training camp trying to kill you, and you're doing these rounds for survival, but you don't even have anyone giving you any feedback. It was like a horrible experience. Like, wow, am I going to make it out alive? Like, what if I get sick right now? And a lot of times you go on these trips, you get sick.
Right.
Because you eat the local salad with the local water or drink the juice with the ice in it, and you are messed up, and you need someone that's been through it to kind of help you through that.
There you go.
Have you ever had that?
That's it. Of course I've had that. I got massive food poisoning in Lima, Peru the day before.
Me too.
There you go.
I ate ceviche down there. Big mistake.
Me too. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Day before the Pan Am Championships, I was severe food poisoning. Terrible. Yeah.
Maybe you were on that trip. We went to Peru, and then we went to Argentina. We were on that trip together.
I was with you, I think, in Chile.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're right. We were.
Yeah,
yes.
And then I remember, I got sick, and then I had to... I was deathly ill. Went to Argentina. Yes. I fought Silva Morales. You ever fight him?
Yes. Of course I fought
Cuba?
Yeah, of course.
He messed me
up.
He's
a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's a nightmare.
Horrible.
He just took a bronze medal at 100 kilos in Paris.
I can't believe he's still doing it.
81, 90, 100. He moved up from 90 to 100. Just took a bronze medal at Paris Grand Slam.
He's one of those quiet legends, right? He's always top 20 in the world. Really good. Destroyed me. Beat Travis too back in the day.
Oh yeah, he beat Travis. He was young. He was I never. I lost to him in the Pan Am finals.
Yeah.
He beat me by a yuko, but he was. It was. I could have. It sounds like, oh man, that was a close match. It wasn't close.
No, it was close. You know what? I bet you it was because you guys are both lefties, and he's much better against righties.
Yes, he's very good against righties. His
hips, very good. Yeah,
his hips, his feet. He's a nightmare, man. He's
Oh, I didn't even know you fought him. Man, I wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that. I gotta look that up. Are you good against lefties?
Now I am. In the beginning of my career, I wasn't. It was a big struggle for me. I lost to a lefty I wasn't supposed to lose to 1 year at the Nationals, and got really angry.
Alfred Brown?
It's actually no. No, he's right. It's this guy, one of my teammates from San Jose, actually, and I just wasn't comfortable fighting lefty. You remember Sid Raj? Sid Raj.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost it one time.
I lost him too one time.
Yeah, see? There you go. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Though. Yeah, no.
We don't have to talk about that.
Me too, yeah.
You see? So
he pulls it off, though. He pulls it off sometimes.
Every once in a while, he had a good day. He was like really good in the room, and I never figured out. I was like, man, this guy can't figure it out in competition, but he was always a tough round for me in the room.
He's long, he's tall, you know.
He's always, he was a nightmare to fight. So I had to figure that out. And then I went to, after the day after the senior nationals, I booked a flight to Japan and stayed there for 3 months and just fought lefties.
That's amazing. You went to Tsukuba mostly?
I went to Nichidai mostly, and then afterwards I started going to Tokai. I went to Tokai, and then I would go to Kokugakuen, and now recently we've been going to Toin University. I've been all over. Yeah, man.
No one did it like you, really. You know, you were able to go to Japan for long stretches of time.
Yep.
Who freaking does that? You know, especially if you don't speak I go to Japan long stretches because I speak Japanese. I feel like at home there, you know. But for you to be out there, not speaking the language and doing this thing, that's really incredible. You know, you're really an exceptional guy, dude. I don't know if you.
Yanni made me do it.
Did he make you do it? That's awesome. He's another one that's kind of a legend, right?
He's a legend, man. He's a legend.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. So you were really in it. I love that. USA Judo board. That was a mess, huh?
USA Judo board was a mess. Yeah, I can talk about that now. It was a mess. Yeah.
Do we know the Olympic criteria for the coming up season?
Nope. We don't know the Olympic criteria. We don't know what it's going to take for athletes to qualify. We don't know
it's
how
March 2025. You know this?
Hey,
March 2025, dude.
You know? You wonder why I'm not on that board anymore. So that's, you know.
Are you happy to be out of there?
I'm super happy. It was very stressful. It was a lot, you know. You now know that everything that I do, I have to feel as though I'm making change. Otherwise, I can't I'm very busy. So if I feel like I'm not making any change or I'm not making progress, then I step back from the situation, right? So that was emptying my cup. It wasn't filling my cup, and there was a lot of, you know, everybody knows kind of what was going on within the board, and there was a lot of just nonsense, and we weren't getting anywhere. And I was like, all right, isn't the point of this to help the organization, to help the athletes, help the organization? And I felt like we weren't even discussing matters like that. So I was like, what am I doing on here? So I stepped away.
So when you're running your gym right now, you're there morning all the way to night?
Some days.
So what days do you have morning practice? Like, what is the training schedule? Do you have noon classes, 6 a.m. classes? Like, what kind of schedules do you do?
So I do for judo. The Wednesdays are the morning class. So Wednesday I have a 6:30 a.m. morning class that I teach. Then so I teach that class. I never used to, but now I do because I make all of my competitors go to that class as well because I want them to get used to waking up and having some discipline. So I teach that class, and then I do private lessons. So on those days, on days that I'm there early, I schedule my private lessons throughout the day. So I'll teach 5 or 6 private lessons on Wednesday, and then I'll teach, and I'll take a break, I'll go get lunch, and then I will come back, and I'll teach classes at night, and I'll teach privates after.
I know why it's strategically Wednesday, too, just because we're similar dudes in a similar industry, you know what I mean? I don't work as hard as you, but like Wednesday, because if you have a weekend tournament, if you go away on Thursday, you can miss a Friday, but you don't have to reschedule this crazy thing. Boom. Wednesday, that's what I do, too. I work out with Glick on Wednesday morning. You know?
Yeah.
And I try to shoot my videos on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Of course. And then if I do a private, which I usually don't do anymore because I don't really like them, sometimes I'll do it 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. And then, the Eugene comes in and teaches the kids program.
There you go.
And then I come back.
Wait, you don't do private? You don't do privates anymore? You were the person that got me into doing privates.
Well, no, I was the person that was like, you're charging too little. You got to charge more. You know?
Yeah, 100%. You literally told me that before I even thought about opening a gym. Yeah, I remember having a conversation with you at the SummerSlam Championships. Yep. Where we took that picture with me, you, Travis, Marty, all those people.
That was a cool shot.
That was a cool shot. I remember having a conversation with you against the wall, and we were talking about you had just opened, and you were like, yeah, I have X amount of members, but I'm teaching privates, and I'm doing I was like, wow, I never knew that you could make a living doing judo. Yeah. You were the first person to tell me that, and then followed up with, then you called me, and you were like, hey, when are you opening? And you were my first technical student.
I was. I never want everyone to forget that, dude. I was the first person to sign up. Now everyone's going to open up a gym, and I have to freaking shell out all these money for the... But you know what? Yeah. I did a lot of privates for a certain amount of time, and then I realized I was getting a little bit burnt out too. I saw your post the other day. I'm not going to do more than 14.
That's it.
And I've done more than, I've done like 15 privates in a week and that kind of stuff, and it was way too much, and I skilled up too kind of fast and quick. Now I'll still do them every now and then. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll still do I think I did like 4 this week or something like that. But I tried to cap it, so the emails come in, hey, will you do a private with me? I'm not like chasing after them. Yeah, sure, it's this much. I have Wednesday at 11 open. Take it or leave it. Done.
That's it. 100%.
So, but man, that's pretty good.
I got to get to that point, though. It's weird because my privates, I'm not taking any more privates, right? So my privates that I have are people that I've been working with since day one, since I opened the doors. And I was always like, man, you guys supported me because when I didn't have a membership, I was like, how am I going to pay my bills? I don't have that many members right now. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I had to start doing privates. And those people have been with me since day one. And the same people that I was doing privates with then, I'm still doing now. Yeah. And they're the majority of the private lessons, and now these guys are going on to medal at international events. So you see the work working, and then some are just general public people. So some are just people from the general public that use me to get a workout. And either way, but I see what you're saying about being burnt out. I could see it. I could see that.
No, because there's only so much stuff you could do, and I don't want to make excuses, but I have a 6-year-old at home. Right, I have a daughter that I have to drop her off at school, pick her up from school, and if I don't pick her up from school, she gets it's a letdown. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it's like if I go to the dojo and if I'm doing it's in the city, I live 40 minutes away. So it's like it's not like I'm gonna go in, come back, go back. You know what I mean? So it's like
it's tough.
Different priorities. I think as you hit 40, have a kid and all that stuff. Of course excuses.
No, those aren't excuses. I mean, I think you're at a different point in your life. You've been open for how long now?
I don't know, man, 20-something years. I mean, my father started in 1963,
I remember that, so, but you've taken it over for 20 years. You've been in the game a long time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Man. All right, so supposedly 4 students move away, and you have 4 new slots for private lesson, right? Mm-hmm. What are you charging for those sessions?
Right now, $250 an hour.
That's what you should be charging, man. You're worth every penny. And people don't realize it's not just that hour that you're paying for. They're paying for 25, 30 years of judo that you've done. And not just doing judo and hanging out, but doing judo, being on the USA Judo board, coaching U.S. athletes, building this program. You're the guy, So
and a lot goes into that as well. Like I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday. I was like, guys, you're not just paying for the hour of private. You guys are paying. I plan this. I have to go over videos. I ask you your goals. What do you want to get out of this? Then I go over videos. Then I put together a plan. Then I adjust the plan after each session. That takes a lot of work, and it's not just random every week what we're going to do. Everything is very planned out. And that's it.
I love that. And you know what bothers me, man? People charging that money who are just showing up and like, let me show you this tile that I hit, 1974. It's like, man, that's not, not to take away from those old guys, but you're providing a different service.
Right.
It's great. Right. I think you should be charging $500 an hour, but market
one day.
Market rate is market rate. One day maybe people will value us like doctors and lawyers.
Of course,
maybe not doctors, but at least lawyers. You know what I mean?
One day, if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would be charging $250 an hour for a private, I would have said no way. So
I feel like
we're making progress.
I feel like I said, I can't remember if it was you, but it was like you were charging like $80 on it. You should be charging minimum $200. You know?
100%. You told me that, but you were the first guy, and I mean, from me looking right, and I always I talk about this all the time. When I was growing up, everybody that had owned judo schools, they had another job, right? And they were just kind of doing this on the side. They were cops or whatever they were, and they were doing this on the side. So I was always brought up saying, there's no way that you can possibly make money in judo. You have to basically give this $25 a month membership max. If they can't pay, give them a gi for free. Take it out of your own pocket. It's your job, your responsibility to give back. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Because
you were one of the ones that told me that.
Yeah, because the quality of your gym suffers, dude. If you work a 9 to 6 doing God knows what, and then you get to the gym, you're not going to have the same level of enthusiasm, excitement. You're losing money. I talked to a guy who owns a dojo, I think out in Long Island. He's a nurse. And he's like, dude, my dojo loses like, $800-900 a month. I'm like, then why bother even doing it? You think it's a good program? It's not a good program. No one's having a good experience,
It's terrible.
Yeah. So how do we have guys like you and me more in this game? How do we do that?
I think that the more people that see it, the people that see me and you, we love what we do. We live a good life. We make pretty good money doing this. I think now people are like, oh, wait, this is an actual career path that I can take. Yeah. My generation of people growing up, my peers growing up, they didn't even know that this was an option. They just thought this was something that you do when you retire and you have a little bit of extra money that you can burn and you can lose. This is something to keep you from dying. That's basically what I was taught when I was growing up. Now you're seeing not only with judo but with jiu-jitsu, and there's a lot of younger guys right now that are making good money doing it and having a lot of fun and making real change. That's the most important thing. So that's why I post what I post on my Instagram. People are like, you shouldn't post yourself at these restaurants and doing this. People are going to think you're making way too much money. And it's like, no, I want the younger generation to see this and say, hey, I can live this type of life if I focus and I do the best I can do in judo and I get successful competitively, I can do this. Or even if you don't, you can still do it.
You too could have a dinner at Per Se for $700 a plate. If you do judo, if you learn Taio,
That's it. That's it. 100%, man.
All right, so what is your big picture thing? Like, all right, so let's say you're doing what you're doing for the next 2 or 3 years. You're cruising. You have a 500 student. I'm sure you have those little incremental goals and stuff like that. But above and beyond that, 5 years from now, what is the big picture? I hope, and that judo is a part of that, obviously. And it probably will be, right? So what is your big picture thing with the judo?
I want to now. I'm at a point where I want to provide opportunities for the people underneath me. So my instructors, I have a really good core group of instructors. A lot of them are young in the game. They're coming up through the international ranks. I want them to create a plan where I can open up schools for them, or I can partner with them to open schools and give them the curriculum. But at first I have them teaching under me. I kind of train them. And then, hey, when you guys are ready, when your career is done, or when you think you're ready to open up a school, we go, north or south, wherever, and I help you guys open a school. I partner with you guys, and that's it. And then you guys can do your own thing. But I want to provide these opportunities for these guys to grow judo within the country, and I think that's my calling. Like, I'm doing all I can, but I can only do so much as one person. But if I can create a group of like-minded individuals underneath me, I think that would be huge.
I love that idea, man. And then you know what? You partner with them. That's the key. Not just taking a royalty. I'm sure you'll do your best to help them succeed. It's not like a lot of these guys have the mentality, the scarcity mentality of like, oh, if I build this guy up and he opens the dojo, I'm building my own competitor. And it's kind of true to a certain extent. But if you're partnering with them and helping them succeed, and you're involved, there's really money for everybody.
I think that's what you just said. I think there's enough for everybody to eat. And I always say, as far as competition is concerned, anybody that wants to that opens up, if you open up a dojo down the street or whatever, that person is going to grow the sport. No matter how you look at it, that person is they're gonna get more people involved in judo. And if you are good enough and you believe in yourself and your product, you value your product, either way, if that guy opens up that school, I'm gonna get a little bit better. I'm gonna get a little bit sharper. I'm gonna probably work a little bit more, because that's competition, and it's gonna make me become a better person. I'm not gonna hate that guy for opening up. I'm going to say, okay, how can I make sure that my product is so solid that I'm not going to lose any students to this guy, or I can continue to grow despite him being in my backyard. That's more of the mentality. That's my mentality. I think that's a mentality a lot of people should take, rather than, oh my God, you opened up next to me? That's so disrespectful. How are you going to do this? We're all going to fail. How would you do this to me? It's weird. It's weird. It's very weird energy.
I mean, directly across the street's a little bit like, yo, why would you open up directly?
That would be, well, nobody would actually do that.
No,
that's a little bit different. Yeah. But even in the state, I mean, for example, hypothetically speaking, I mean, this kid, Jack Yaneska, is probably one of the most successful. He's the best right now that we have. That kid's going to open a dojo. I talked to him last week. He is going to take over Cranford Dojo, or let's just say he went and opened a dojo 15 minutes away from me or 10 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Good. He's going to grow judo. It's a good thing for everybody. The more young people that we have coming up, opening dojos, it's building the sport, it's growing the community. It's a good thing.
It really is, man. I absolutely 100% agree with you, man. And I don't know if you do Google Ads. You do Google Ads?
No, I don't even know what that is.
No, Google Ads.
Ads. I thought you said lads. Oh, yeah. No, Google Ads. I don't do Google Ads, no.
Yeah. No, but you could do like Keyword Planner to see who's searching what in your neighborhood and all that stuff. And, judo is probably like 1/8 the number of probably like BJJ search terms. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, like, we got to get that up there. Like, the more, we bring, there's people who want to do judo. You grow through referrals. You grow through a great program. People see what you're doing. Bring it out on the line, and more people start gyms, and then now everyone's looking for judo. That's kind of what we want to do with the programs, you know what I mean? And I think you're doing a great job.
That's what we need to do. That's the only way that judo is going to stay alive in this country. Yeah. It's the only way. But you see, why if jiu-jitsu is doing this, you see what the jiu-jitsu schools are doing, and you see it, and it's like, wait, if these guys are doing this, why can't we do it? Like, I don't understand it. So,
But you have safety things that you implement that a lot of the other dojos haven't. Correct? Like, you don't let white belts do randori with white belts, yellow belt randori. Nope. You don't let those guys do it, right? Nope. So can you give us some of those for the people who are listening, who are probably part of a club that they could bring back this information to their gym owners? Or if their gym owners listen to them, what are some of these things that they could do immediately to kind of help their gym?
Yeah, I think that you hit it on the head. The biggest thing for me is, again, if I'm providing a positive experience, I can't have a bunch of people getting injured, right? And I have to make sure that we create a safe environment for everybody. So I don't allow white belts to go at white belts, no yellow belts at yellow belts. White belts have to go with green and above. And the way that I teach is control, right? Even when we throw on the crash pad, I'm not throwing and landing on people, doing all kinds of stuff. If you cannot do a throw without resistance, controlled, then how do you expect to throw anybody clean during randori? And I have a lot of girls that are in my dojo, so I make a lot of the guys. I force a lot of the guys to train with girls, but you at 50% randori, 30% randori, you're not using any strength. You're using no strength. Your objective is to flow, to move, and to feel your judo. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of like 50% randori. I promote feel. I don't want white belts going white belts. I don't want white belts going with yellow belts. And that's basically how I do it.
Yeah. Green belt, green belt.
Green belt. But if they're not, if they're the green belt, that if the matchup is good, I allow it. If it's not a good, and my instructors know too. So we have monthly instructor meetings, and they know who's not supposed to be going with who. So they'll see the matchup. We have 2 mats, and we look before I start the randori round. I look at every single matchup, and if there's something that I don't like, I switch it, and that's it.
There you go.
And and sometimes people get upset about it, and I don't care.
Yeah, green belt.
You're not getting injured.
Limitations like no sumi, no tomonage, whatever it is. You have any limitations on techniques that are allowed to be done at a certain level?
Yeah, so I allow basically almost all techniques, except I don't allow Taniatoshi under green belt. So in the green belt and under, no Taniatoshi.
Yeah.
Because people baseball slide in the knees. It's the other than Osoto, where 2 people are putting their feet on the mat, which I hate. Yeah, and everybody knows if I see Osoto with feet on the mat, I stop the match and they just go sit on the side. That's it. And if no Taniatoshi, because I can't have people baseball sliding into people's knees.
Yep. Wow, where did you get that?
You.
Dude, I've been saying this people nonstop. Like, why would you allow your beginners to do tani toshi on each other?
Terrible.
You know, you see guys. I've been to gyms when like yellow belts, like guys fresh 4 months in, are waiting for the guy to turn and diving backwards and then just like wrapping him up. I'm like, why would you let them do that? That's freaking crazy. You know,
it's insane. It's wow. You have to care about people. You have to care about the experience. And if I lose somebody 8-9 months, these guys have real jobs. These are real people. They're out of work. They're not making money. Do you think they would ever? They're not. Of course, they're not going to come back. But if anybody asked them about judo, oh man, that was probably the worst decision I ever made in my life.
Horrible.
It's terrible. You don't need that kind of negative press. Not good.
Thank you to our sponsors, Drew, Elijah, Jason Levon. You two could sponsor the podcast on Patreon. Now we're doing chat with me features, one-to-one features, all these different things. So definitely check that out. Thank you, Colton, so much for being here. Where can these people find you?
C Brown 90 kg on Instagram and Colton Brown Training Center. That's it.
Yeah, and you're running camps too. That's amazing. You know, no one does that. No one does that. You're doing something. I'm telling you, you're doing something for the judo community that no one has done. I mean, I shouldn't say no one, you know, because Jimmy did a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. That's where I got a lot.
Yeah, but you know, Jimmy's old. You know, he's 50-something years old, and you know, he'll probably, you know, want to kill me if you heard me saying that. But like, you know, he's getting older, right?
Yeah,
he's in the business.
I don't think he wants to. He doesn't want to do as much of this anymore. I think he's into the Fuji mats, and he's running a really, really successful business. And you know, me and Jimmy work together. So Jimmy sends a team of his guys. I had a camp 2 weeks ago. Jimmy sent a big team of I think 8 or 9 people down. We work together. We collaborate on a lot of things. I send my guys up to him when he's on the mats. So I think that we need more people like this. And right now I'm young enough, and I have the energy to provide the best possible experience for that's for my competitors and just for the community as a whole too. Like I want people, we need to network and we need to get in a room together and we need to grind together and we need to I think it's a good thing for the community. So I'm going to keep doing it.
How old are you now?
33.
Wow. Young and hungry.
Yeah. Old.
Crushing
I'm getting old. I'm getting old,
man.
bro.
You're not old till you're 40, dude.
7 years.
Yeah. Wow. Colton, amazing, man. Thank you so much for being here. Please be on the podcast again. I'm sure this is going to go over really well. Guys, if you like it, leave a comment in the comment section and, you know, maybe send a nice comment to Colton Brown. We all have to be more like Colton Brown.
I appreciate you.